right, 7.1, it's all about direct and inverse variation. Direct variation is if we have y by itself and we're multiplying some constant times x, where in this case a is that constant. So it might look like y is equal to 4x. It might look like y is equal to 1/4 x. It could be a decimal or a fraction. It doesn't have to necessarily be a whole number, and it could be positive or negative. Okay, when we have inverse variation, it's y is equal to some number divided by x. So x ends up being in the bottom. So it might look like y is equal to 3 over x, or y is equal to, again, it could be a decimal over x. You may also see it as y times x equals a number, because if you were to solve for y to get y by itself, this would be the same thing as 4 over x. So you always want to look at it as what does it look like when y is by itself? If you have any adding or subtracting going on in the problem, it's going to be neither of these variations. So let's take a look at these numbers. For number 1, y is equal to 2 over x. Y is by itself and the x is in the bottom, so this is inverse. For the next one, y is not by itself, so I'd have to get y by itself. And then x is in the bottom, so this one is inverse. For number 3, y is not by itself. To get y by itself, I'd have to multiply both sides by x. So this is a number times x, so this is direct. For this one, y is by itself, and it's a number times x, so it's direct. Number 5 has adding in it, so this one's going to be neither. Number 6 has adding, so it's going to be neither. Number 7, to get y by itself, I'd have to divide both sides by 8. Now this one looks a little different, but this means the same thing as 1/8 times x, so it's just a number times x, so this is direct variation. This one, to get y by itself, I'd have to divide by x, so it's 1/5 divided by x, so x is in the bottom, so that's going to be inverse. Alright, for the next few, I'm not going to do all of these problems. We're going to skip around a little bit and just do some of them. Okay, in order to figure out from the table if it's direct or inverse variation, we need to think about how we would get our constant. So when you have direct variation, we said it's y is equal to a times x for direct variation. If I just wanted my constant by itself, it would be y over x is equal to that constant. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to test and do y divided by x. So this is my test for direct variation. So if I go through and I divide y divided by x, I get 11. Y divided by x, I get 11. And every time I divide here, I keep getting 11.
Teachers, at this time, please release any student with a blue club card. Please release any student with a blue club card at this time.
So this one is going to be direct variation. There's no need to test for inverse variation since direct was correct. Okay, for the next one, I'm going to go ahead and test for direct variation. I'm going to go y divided by x. I'm going to get 5.2. And then, let me use my calculator because I'm not sure on that one. Oh, 5.25. Oops. 16 divided by 4. 14 divided by 6 is 2.3. And I get a different answer right away, so that means I can stop testing. I don't need to test if I get a different constant. So now I want to test for inverse. Inverse is when we have a number over x. So if I wanted to get that constant by itself, it would be y times x gives me my constant. So I'm going to go through and multiply y times x. I get 84, 84, 84, 84, and 84. So this one is inverse variation. Alright, for the next section, it says we're told that they vary inversely. So that means we know it's a number divided by x. Use the given values to write an equation, and then find the missing y value when x is 3. So we have 2 steps. We have to find the equation. So we're going to start with y is a over x and plug in what we know. We know -4 equals a over 5. So if I want to get my a value, I'd have to multiply by 5, and I get -20 is a. So my first step is to write my equation. Y equals -20 over x. That's my first answer. My second problem is to find y when x is 3. So if I were to plug in an x of 3 here, my y would equal -20 over 3. That's the second part to my question. Okay, so we're going to do the same process for these problems. Y is equal to a over x. So 8 is equal to a over -3. I multiply, I get -24 is a. So my equation is y equals -24 over x. This is the first part of my answer. The second part of my answer, I'm going to plug in the x value that they give me, and I get -8. So y is -8. Number 17. Same formula. I'm going to plug in what I know. 28 is equal to a over 3/4. So I have to multiply by 3/4. I'll get 21 is a. So my equation, y equals 21 over x. And then for the second part, I plug in a 3. So y is equal to 7. Last one. Y is -1/6 is equal to a over -12. So I'm going to multiply -12 times -1/6. I'm going to get +2 for a. So my equation is y equals 2 over x. And then I'm going to plug in 3. So y is equal to 2 over 3. And that is it.